I just realized that none of you have my audio. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, we're working now. I was just celebrating that it worked without a bug. But then I forgot to put my audio on, so you didn't get to celebrate with me. Anyway, yeah, that's that. We start with the oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, we're working now. Yeah, so what I was going to say is that we do advertisements. So if you'd like to come to my next conference, that is at Easter for 7 days in a beautiful location outside Leipzig in Germany. Yeah, and that's for 7 days, 7 nights, I think. In 7 days, I don't know how that works out, but definitely 7 nights. And yeah, you can find your accommodation in the local area. It's all walking distance. It's in a sweet old town surrounded by nature. And you can also get food at the venue, or you can order food yourself. And also at the conference, there will be yoga and hopefully meditation. We've definitely got yoga happening, and meditation, and the other activities I'm not sure. I will be doing 2 talks a day. Yeah. And the reason that I offer these conferences is because I love speaking about non-duality. I don't think too much about what it gives people or not gives people, because that feels too mental and it doesn't feel in line with me. What feels in line with me is what happens in every moment. And what happens in the moment when I'm expressing non-duality is I feel this really beautiful energy of sharing. It doesn't really feel like my energy sharing. It's like a connection of nothing and nothing expressing itself, of life expressing itself. And I love it. I don't really do it for any personal reason of making friends or trying to help people or trying to get people enlightened. I do it because the energy shines brightly when that is done. Yeah, in fact, I find the personal stuff a little bit difficult on retreats, and that's still something I'm working on the human level. I find it hard to navigate because I'm a bit of an introvert. So a lot of the people that do events are normally extroverts. And so therefore the socialization is really easy for them, but it's not so easy for me, the socializing around the talk. But when I'm actually in the talk talking about non-duality, it feels like an expression of love and sharing love. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like my love or your love, it just feels like love. And I don't know the effect that that has on people. I can only speak from memory of my experience and from what I've learned from non-duality, as in, like, when you resonate with that love, it's kind of like a beacon or an awakening, a reminder of your true self. So it's like a lighthouse in the dark, but it's not my lighthouse, it's life's lighthouse, like reminding you of what and who you truly are. Yeah. And that's a really personal thing. That doesn't mean that everyone that listens to me or listens to that will feel that, but some people will, and the ones that do know what I'm talking about. I used to get it listening to particular teachers, and just suddenly there would just be a knowing of what was being talked about and a shining in my heart. Yeah. So that is that. So if your heart resonates, then you come. There is a little blockage to it in the sense that from now on, all events that I do have to have security procedures to keep out people that want to cause trouble or be inappropriate. So every event that I do, even online now, there has to be a verification of your true identity, which comes through some form of payment, only because that's the only way we know how to do it, to verify identity. You know, it's someone could send their false identity if we didn't do that. So therefore, if you want to know the venue and if you want to see the venue, you have to pay something if you've never paid something. If you're in my database already and you've already paid something, then you can write to Amelia, who's my organizer, and she will give you that information. But if you haven't, then you have to verify yourself. And that is to keep me and other participants safe from people being inappropriate and wanting to cause trouble. And I hope you understand that. Yeah, I managed to do it for so many years without that, but then eventually, you know, it caught up with me, and the internet and the darkness of the internet caught up with me, and that's now the way that I will always proceed. So also in this talk, if you want to ask a verbal question, that can only be, so you have to verify yourself. And by doing that, you have to write in Telegram, I would like to ask a question, and then you have to tell me what your Zoom name is, and then I will let you in. And then you can ask the question, and then I will let you out. Nobody can sit and watch the talk. I can only have talks in Zoom now like this, where they're public, when there's someone there monitoring it, and there's no one there monitoring it today. So I have to do it like this. It's to be carefully regimented. Yeah, funny times. Yeah, you can also ask a written question in Telegram. So if you're already in Telegram, you know how to do that. If you want to find out how to ask written questions, then you can go on to live streaming on my website. Again, you have to pay something to verify your ID, but if you really don't want to pay anything because you're absolutely skint or you don't want to pay anything because you don't think you should, then you are welcome to do that and we'll send you the money back, but we have to verify your ID. Yeah. The next event that I do after that is in Southern Europe in October, which is a walking retreat, which I'm really excited about. We do an hour and a half walking every day, and then 2 lots of talks. And I think then there's also body work as well. And I think this will be really beautiful, and it's partially in silence. So it's really about going into yourself rather than all the distractions of people and iPhones and these things. And yeah, and it's a really beautiful eco resort. Yes, but again, if you want to find out the information, you have to verify yourself. Yeah. Okay, we can begin with the talk. I thought this was a really beautiful title. Sometimes I have to browse YouTube to get title inspirations now. I've been doing these talks for 12 years, and it's sometimes hard to think of new titles. So I browsed and I came across this title and thought it was super beautiful. I think it was Sadhguru's title. I mean, it's not exactly word for word, I don't think, but it's similar. Yeah, so how to become silent. Yeah. And I like the play on words. How to become silent. Sorry, just let me check in Telegram that my audio and everything is working. So if it isn't working, please say. Yeah, it's all okay now. So I like the play on words, like how to become silent. So in the title, there's nothing personal there. So it's not like, how do you become silent? Let me just check that again. How to become silent. So it's kept out any personal pronouns. and it's just how to become silent. And what does that mean? You know, maybe people have clicked on this video and they're like, what the hell does she mean by how to become silent? Like, what does that mean? So maybe some people associate it with mindfulness. So you train your thinking mind so it becomes silent. So therefore, you only think when you want to think. And there is a control over the thinking. But if you notice in the title, it's not personal. It doesn't say, how do you become silent? How to become silent. So I feel what the title is talking about, and most probably what Sadhguru meant when he was speaking about it, how to become silent, is he's speaking about something in you that's already silent. So finding the place in you that is silent. I find that so beautiful. So in each of us, there is silence. Where is that silence? So it's so interesting because if you look around your room, so I'm now sitting in my new office. You can't tell because I got my same background up. I have a new office, which is a really amazing office. I feel like I really lucked out. Yeah. If you look around your room, what is it that's silent in this? I mean, it's just mind-blowing. Because in the end, the answer is everything is silent. But this is just an investigation for you, so we'll just go bit by bit. So is the air silent? Is the space silent? Are the walls silent? Is consciousness silent? And what is silence to you? Is silence the absence of sound? I mean, that's what it implies, the absence of sound. But maybe this silence is talking about the absence of all senses. So another way we could look at it is if we have all senses and we're experiencing all senses, do we have to also simultaneously experience no senses for that to happen? So you could look at it like, in order to experience movement, do we simultaneously have to experience no movement? Because if we didn't simultaneously experience no movement, would movement be chaos? So if we take the analogy of the film being projected onto a screen, if we projected the film out the window of a moving train, would you be able to see the film? If you projected the film onto another film, would you be able to see the film? If you didn't have a blank screen in which the film was projected on, would you be able to experience the film? So the question is if you experienced movement without stillness, would you be able to experience it? Or would it become chaos, like trying to watch a projected film out of the window of a train that's moving? That is the question. That is the question. And none of these things are about trying to obtain answers. I'm not trying to give you an answer or lead you to an answer. In a way, I'm trying to unpick the assumptions that are already in play until your true essence is revealed. So right now, I can hear birds outside. They're singing. Could I hear the birds if there wasn't simultaneously silence in their song? So, for something like silence, we're always looking for silence. But if we talk about silence in terms of non-duality, even maybe in terms of life, you can't ever really find it. It's not something you can grab onto. And this is the problem. Like, if we look for no movement, so you've got movement and no movement, could you actually find no movement? Because would it be an actual thing that existed? No movement, silence, stillness. So the mind is always looking for this place in all of us, which is perfectly still, perfectly silent, and without any things. And it never can come up with anything. It can never come up with any goddamn thing. It always comes up empty. And then it thinks, I've failed because I didn't find something. And again, it overlooks this obviousness which is here. This isn't about thinking, this isn't about getting, this isn't about you doing anything. This is really the surrender back into what you already are, right here, right now. Absolute surrender, absolute perfection. This aliveness. Everything is calling this. Everything is here, 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 here I am, here I am. This, it's really in this. It's not in what you think. It's not in perfecting the flow. It's not in what you're seeking for. It's not in daydreaming a better reality or future. It's really in this, right here, right now. Perfection of what is. Yeah, I don't know if I have much more introduction to share. So you just go on to questions. If you have any questions, you can ask the questions in the YouTube, in the Telegram app. And if you want to call in, you can do. You write in Telegram, I would like to call, and tell me your Zoom name and I will let you in. You would like to ask a question, Christopher? Because I'm not letting anyone just sit there. It's only for people that want to ask a question. Okay, so I'll answer these while I wait for Christopher. This is a question from Charlie. Hello, Charlie. In the something, the teaching state that there are three distant phases or aspects of awakening that are simply expressed as the following, which I wonder if Lisa might respond to. 1, soul immersion or immersion into one's essence nature, known as anavana. Yeah, I'm not going to say these words. Soul immersion or immersion into one's essence nature. 2, immersion into the total field of energy that is unity consciousness. Immersion into the divine absolute, where one experiences the total potentiality underlying everything, known as. There is also a state known as the fourth, because it encompasses all three together. Yeah, thank you, Charlie, for your question. To be honest with you, Charlie, I don't know what they mean by this. So every teacher and teaching has different different words for awakening. And I don't know what soul immersion into the total field of energy, or immersion into the divine absolute means. So, yes. I don't think I could comment on it. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, Charlie. Thank you for your question. I like the idea of it, but I really don't know what they mean by that. So for me, I can just do the awakening that happened here and the awakening that I know happens or has happened in other people. There's the awakening to the I am. There's awakening to the nothingness. So then I am is everything. The awakening to the nothingness, which is the consciousness. And then those two coming together and not being separate. So then it's like the nothing and everything. And they can seemingly happen in stages. And then there's also the integration of that into the human character. But I don't know if that's another stage. Yeah. Thank you, Charlie. This is from Monique. In one of your videos, I heard you talk about how we are projecting situations and people in our experience in order to release stored trauma emotions from our bodies. Could you talk some more about that? Thanks. Yeah. So I don't exactly know what I said. I mean, I've done thousands of hours of talks on YouTube, so it's unknown what I said. So I just take a stab in the dark at what I think I most probably was talking about, but it might not be what you listened to in that video. So I believe in the human level, and it becomes a belief in the human level because, in a way, everything that we speak about on the human level is stories and not truth or fact. So we can have beliefs where we sew things together and we kind of make patterns and we assume that it's like that. So on the human level, it appears that when we stream enter, so when we have an awakening and there is the movement into the stream, which then leads to enlightenment, so it leads down river all the way to the sea, so it leads to enlightenment, then everything is there as an aid to wake you up. And it's also an aid to align the character more with who you are. So as you go into the ocean and then there is oneness, things in life happen in order to align the character more with that oneness. So it can be prior to getting into the sea, and then it can be after getting into the sea. And what that means is that we are faced with things in life in which either creates seeking energy, so prior to immersion into the sea, creates seeking energy, or contracts the character. So that could be happening after you get into the sea. That makes the character smaller. So after you get into the sea, there's still the motion to expand the character. But prior to getting into the sea, it can be the seeking energy. And life puts things in the path in a very impersonal way, in which that seeking energy is challenged again and again. And it can be used in order to recognize that seeking energy. And in the recognition of that seeking energy, there can be a dropping or a disappearing of that seeking energy. For example, if there is a lot of seeking around being lonely and being afraid of being by yourself, then on the path there will be events which challenge that. You'll meet people that won't fulfill your needs, that won't support your loneliness, and will make you look at your loneliness and challenge your loneliness or your idea of loneliness, which is such a beautiful thing. And what a gift. It's God, it's life giving a gift to expand that energy, to detach from that energy. So it could also be, so the way that I encourage people to look at it is that once you've entered the stream, it's like you just look at everything as the teacher, everything that happens. The teachings which come in formal ways, and then the teaching which comes through life. Everything is the teacher. Everything is an aid to help you go beyond the illusion. And what an amazing mindset to get into. To always look at everything as a gift, as a blessing. This is my friend. The one that's challenging my loneliness is my friend. I still have sometimes old seeking energies coming up, but sometimes just contracted energies that come up around my character, like old contracted energies that aren't seeking, but just old ways of believing or seeing things. And I just see it all as such a gift. Like our characters, like anything, can expand infinitely. The nature of the universe is expansion. So, you know, if there's old belief systems or limiting belief systems, then life challenges it, and that's such a gift. Even though in the moment it feels painful, it's such a gift. And to me, this feels like the in-line way of looking at life. Not being victim, not being riddled with shame, but that this is a gift in an expansive, open way. Everything is a gift. It's even the gift prior to entering the stream, prior to awakening. It's just, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really matter having these divisions. Yes, Brian, you can ask a question. So you just go into Zoom. And I will let you in as long as that's your name in Zoom. The Zoom link is on the channel. Shane, hi Lisa. I don't think the sound, oh, okay. No sound. Question. Hi Lisa, what are your thoughts on synchronicities? This is from S. Hey S. So that's funny because I was just kind of speaking about that. I mean, in the flow of things, when you see a synchronicity, it's like a wink from life. Like this is all magic. That life is not logical like the mind thinks. Life isn't black and white like the mind thinks. That it's infinite possibilities and outside the realms of what we believe. So when you have synchronicities, you know, you think of someone and then they call, or every day you look at your computer and it's 11:11. Like you see it as a wink. But then going beyond that, like in a way you could say everything's a synchronicity because everything is happening according to oneness, according to the divine. So how could anything not be synchronicity? It's all happening in perfection. I mean, if you just question the idea about how any action happens now, then synchronicity dissolves into this wonder of what is. That everything is appearing spontaneously from the moment, not like we believe it is, that it's a coming from the past. And if we did believe in the idea that it's coming from the past, then that too reflects the infinity of everything. Because if we look in time for reason for what's happening now, then it goes back endlessly to the Big Bang. You know, when did your speaking begin? When you learned to talk, when humans invented to speak, when humans descended the trees from being an ape, when the world was created, when the sun first started, when the Big Bang happened. When did your impulse in the flow of things to speak happen? If we look at time, then it's like mystery and wonder too. But really, if we come to this moment, everything that's uttered in this moment, anything that appears, is absolute wonder. It's appearing from no place. It's the direct connection to the divine. The walls appearing is the divine walling. The words appearing is the divine speaking. The sight seeing is the divine seeing. And the divine is absolute mystery.